Hi, my name is Tesney. Today I want to share my setup with you. A while ago, I realized that my setup was awful. Some things made sense, but some combinations that I needed frequently were made so awkward. A double weave, double tap ability on with a back page ability, and the next global is on the other side. I needed better, so I looked at character config settings with fresh eyes. There are a lot of cross hotbar settings, and while I didn't make major changes, I went through them to make sure I still had the most comfortable options. My controller setup is fairly similar to the default, except that lock-on became assist. There are essentially three different cross hotbars with two button types. There's a lot of ways to connect abilities on the cross hotbars. Visually, button categorization, streamlined bar switching, rotational priority, accessibility. On top of that, there are weird things that make sense to me that probably don't make sense at all, like how globals belong on the face buttons and off globals on arrows. Ranged go on the left and melee go on the right. Using R2 to L2 is a basic back bar for Helios and Medica, while L2 to R2 is the 2.0 aspected Helios, Benny, Medi 2, and Sucker, and double taps are for cooldowns that need visibility. These rules aren't hard and fast. It's something I've noticed when I reach for abilities. You might have some unconscious or intuitive preferences as well, and by making them deliberate, you can make your play more comfortable. Some abilities just belong in certain places. Malefic will get used 150 times in a single fight. It needs to be easy to get to come back to fat finger, to mash, to autopilot. For me, that's R2 and face buttons. If it needs to be fast, it goes here. Essential Dignity, Lustrate, Tetra, Terracol, Adlo, Benny 2, Cure 2. I pretty much only use Benny 2 and Cure 2 in emergencies, but I have found that when I need them now, so I choose to keep them easy. The next easiest bar is L2 face. I put my cards here. This is a big change for me because I used to keep them on the arrows, but there are just too many burst windows that need to happen while moving, and these card buttons are the bulk of our burst. Learning it was intense, but it's so much better this way. These cards here are macros for player 5, top melee pick, and player 8, ranged pick, draw and redraw. It might be prettier to group cards in Arcana like so, but that doesn't reflect how we use them. If you're using the 6-minute Astrodyne rotation, then these four are the ones that get used every 30 and 60 seconds. And among these two, one of these gets used one time every 2 minutes. Different cross hotbars, same buttons. I used the same theory for Minor Arcana and Crown Play, and Divination and Astrodyne. They are paired abilities, but they don't get played together. In the opener, I use Divination Minor Arcana in one global and Astrodyne Crown Play in another, so these are right next to each other for the smoothest possible double weaving. Astrologian has a lot of cooldowns to track, and I put most of them on this top W or double tap cross hotbar for visibility. Simple cooldowns that don't require targeting are located on the arrow buttons. Some abilities require a target, which require the arrow keys to slide through the party list. I have always found it easiest to put Celestial Intersection, Excog, Exaltation, and the like on face buttons. By separating targeting from execution on the controller, I make less targeting related mistakes. Abilities like Surecast and Sprint are so important that I give them priority placement. There's 5 knockback immunities I can think of in the Savage tier, and all 5 of them, I'm moving when I need it. Putting Surecast here, easy for me, is the smartest thing I've done in Endwalker. By the time I finish prioritizing all of these abilities, the others just fit where I could fit them. There are a few legitimate opportunities to use Rescue, so I don't care if it's hard to use. Same with Sinistry. I had to check. Yes, it still exists. Earthly Star is on the front page as a direct ability and as a macro. The macro is easier to weave because it skips the targeting ring, but there are pivotal points where Star can't be placed under anyone. For the back bars, I found it most convenient to link each with the front sides. It's easier to go from right side to right side back bar, hold R2, add L2, and back again by releasing L2, and left to left. I incorporated this into my opener. Right side star, potion, malefic. Add L2, lightspeed, combust. Release R2, which loads the left side play, draw. There are a few other odd connections I try to maintain. Swift cast and res on the same buttons across multiple bars. Ether and potion share the same button on different hotbars because they share the same recast. It's also easier to weave in ether with combust, so they are cross-bar neighbors. And if that weren't enough, I also have a secondary cross hotbar that I can reach with the tap of R1, where I keep handy things like food, level sync macro, and a bunch of res macros. All of these are set up to res without targeting, and it changes the hotbar back to the main one. Having a no target, one button res for tanks and healers prevents me from dying. The last 4 available bars are shared across all classes. One is for crafting, another for emotes, this is for general access, and here's for travel. To make housing and furniture glitching more tolerable on controller, I dedicated a bar with a housing menu and character config to switch back and forth from keyboard and mouse mode to controller mode, necessary for this final step in glitching. And I have a regular hotbar set up for housing in keyboard mode. This one is shared across all classes too, so I can keep decorating or switch back. GPOs and emotes go together, right? Last but not least, raiding life wouldn't be complete without opening Party Finder a dozen times while the group is filling, and the occasional refresh of friends lists. Or crafting. Or GPOs. I've got buttons for everything. Thanks for watching.